Thank you so much, leaders, for joining us on another episode of Doll Dot Live. And I've got to discuss a very pertinent point today. And a lot of it kind of floats in the air. Everybody talks about it, but nobody kind of takes actions on that. Right. So, all of us, like, whenever we are talking to somebody, we talk about mental health, stress, and all those things. Right. But it's still, when we go to a company and we kind of tell to the HR that, what, I went through a period of depression or mental health crisis, then there are a lot of chances that the HR is going to reject my profile. So can we remove that fear and make it normal? And that's why I've got Miss Hema joining us today. She's an expert in this field and will be taking very, 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 no filter opinions on what should be done inside the organizations. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Rishikesh, for inviting me over. And I take this as a privilege. I don't know if I'm an expert in this field, but I'm definitely somebody who has, dealt with it, managed it for some time, and I know what it is like to be there. And that's exactly what I want to share because I feel having been there, it really, really matters a lot. And the effects of understanding the importance of mental health is far beyond what we can really understand and know at the face of it. So that's something that we will talk about. And so thank you for having me over today with you.
Ma'am, it's quite crazy now. Matlab, like when somebody collapses in an office, there are first aid protocols, there are trained people, there are emergency procedures. But what happens when someone is experiencing severe anxiety, burnout, emotional exhaustion, or a mental health crisis? I don't think anybody notices. I don't know who helps. And why do most of the workplaces still have no answer to that question? And that is the building block of the conversation that we are going to have. Ma'am, as employees actually are more stressed today and we see it in our daily lives, or are we actually finally acknowledging it?
I would say, I mean, I think you brought out a beautiful point. The starting point is something that, what happens if someone really collapses in the office, right? Goes through an anxiety attack or a panic attack. First and foremost, imagine being in that kind of a situation. First thing that goes is you hit a panic button on your own, right? You get into a panic and you don't know how to react. You don't know what's happening to the other person.
Yeah.
He or she was all fine, and suddenly they are acting in a particular way, physically, mentally, and, in their behavior that you don't know how to respond. I would say the individual's response today is also the organization's response. They also don't know what to do and how to do, because for that whole 1 or 2 hours, for that matter, till the time that the person is attended to or calmed down, or probably in extreme cases taken to the hospital or something, the whole organization almost comes to a standstill to the extent that they don't know what happened. They are curious what exactly happened, how did we help, or what are we, what is going through, how did it happen, why did it happen, hundreds of tons of questions that come up. And that readiness is something that is just not there individually and also at an institutional level, and that is something that is worrying. So how do we build that readiness is something that every organization needs to think about, because emergency, as it is emergency, hits us when we are least prepared for it, right? It could be a fire exit kind of a situation, or a fire alarm that goes off. How do we prepare for this? That is also very, very important, and you brought out a very pertinent point. How do we handle somebody collapsing in the office, right? That's what I feel. They are not yet ready. We are not prepared for something like that yet.
पहले भी होता था या फिर आज today people are have started acknowledging it?
Yeah, so I think that is another very, very important part of it. One is how to react. The other part is, are we in a state of acceptance? First of all, are we ready to accept that this is happening? If the person is actually, collapsing, it is not necessarily that, the person has not had food or is anemic, or, not necessarily you associate it with physical illness. It could be something else also, and the person is going through an anxiety attack probably because he or she has a history or a recognized health, mental health issue, and that's
Hmm.
probably not being made aware of. Are we acknowledging it? Not to a great extent.
Hmm.
For the very same reason that you began the conversation with, what
Hmm.
happens if I share? How will I
Hmm.
be seen? How will I be understood? How will I be
Yeah.
taken? My manager will misunderstand me. My manager will not give me work. My HR will look at me differently. If I share that in my interview only that I do have a history of this, my
Yeah.
HR will first put the resume aside. That is the fear everybody carries. And I would say, while the word is probably spread and more people are becoming aware of the word mental health, but I
Yeah.
also would say it is the most abused and misunderstood word. So acknowledgement goes a little far. Let's first understand what it is, right? I think that in itself is somewhere lacking, in terms of, are we rightly understanding it and using it correctly? That is something that is very, very important. It's not like, oh, today I'm not feeling good, so let me go to the doctor and get a pill. It's
Yeah.
not like that. Mental health is something else, more grave, more deeper, far
Hmm.
more, should I say,
Hmm.
bearing impact on the individual. So that is something that first and foremost we need to understand. First and foremost, I hate it that people just throw the word mental health randomly everywhere these days. So we need to be careful about it. So talking about acknowledgement, people who really have it, going
Hmm.
through it, are the ones who are not acknowledging, like who should
Hmm.
be acknowledging, are not acknowledging it. And people who have very less information, very less maturity of understanding what it is, are the
Hmm.
ones who are randomly using it and abusing it also. I
Right.
think both of the extremes are happening. That's what is more worrying situation today.
When we kind of go back and start
Mhm.
thinking like why this situation arose, basically, why mental health has become a crisis these days. When I
Mm.
kind of, see my parents, my father used to go for his work. He used to earn thick-tack decent amount so that he can take care of the family. And he had a long-term purpose in his mind. What was the
Mm.
long-term purpose? Is that I have to make sure that my kids study and do well in their life. For that, I'm doing this thing. Now, do you also believe that, ma'am? Because in this world has gone very transactional these days. Like people negotiate on salary for small hikes or big hikes, but and also within the company, somewhere the purpose seems to be missing. Employees are being hired for transactions, for short
Mm.
term work. So since the purpose seems to be missing, ma'am, do you also think that this creates more stress not only on the employees but also on the employers, and this leads to more exhaustion, stress, and mental health crisis?
Absolutely. I think, you seem to know all the answers before me saying anything. Your answers are becoming my questions, the other way around. But I would like to elaborate on it. I think
Yes.
you touched a beautiful word, that is purpose. You
Yeah.
know, you talk about your previous generations, and, the generations earlier was mental health not there that time. It was very much there. But the way they handled it, the way they dealt with it was much more, should I say, grounded in reality,
Mm.
and more purposeful. See, first and foremost, I think, our education system or the society was much more institutionalized and prepared in terms of helping the, upcoming generations try to understand what is their purpose. If
Mm.
it was like, going back to history for that matter, kings
Yeah.
were, brought up saying that your purpose is to, do these kind of things, and that kind of really conditioned them very well. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't say, that kind of uh, conditioning is what is needed, and people have clarity, and that leads to no exhaustion. But you should also notice that another element, along with having a purpose in
Yeah.
life,
Mm.
the previous generations lived with nature very, very closely,
Right.
you know
Yes.
lived with nature and did not go against it, right?
Mm.
It could be in terms of eating habits, or it could be in terms of not abusing environment. That added a lot to them, that they were also going with nature. What we need to be doing in whichever season, whichever weather, whichever, how much we should live. It's not about, you did not have that kind of a consumeristic, greedy mentality at that point in time, that I will go and, hunt and eat and, accumulate even if I don't need, that kind of thing was not there. But probably as and when the humanity evolved, we got into that kind of a greedy mentality and not understanding that life has to go along with nature and the environment. When we start fighting that, man human and the nature fights that happen, I think that led to a lot more of superiority feeling, when the human beings start feeling that, I'm greater than the nature and I can rule. I have technology in my hand, I will accumulate, I will. That greed probably makes all this happen, that when you end up fighting so much, it's also, something that can happen to Ashoka, right? He fought
Yes.
so much, but he, at the end of it all, he also wondered, why am I doing this?
Yes.
It's the same thing that, human beings necessarily go through at this point in time, that we do so much at one point in time, we sit down and say, why am I doing this? What's happening to me? I'm not recognizing that. That is where I think we are losing it out. I wouldn't say it did not happen earlier. It happened earlier also, but I think right now, the magnanimity that it is touching people, I would say the wide impact that it is happening, or the gravity at which it is happening to people, is much more deeper, much more far fetching, impact that it is having. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Ma'am, I do a very simple experiment every time I take a flight.
Uh-huh.
So when the flight is taking off now,
Uh-huh.
so just at the time when it's kind of taking off, I start asking myself, do I want to leave? And then my internal thing tells that, yes, bro, you have to leave. And then that makes me realize that being alive is the biggest blessing that I have. Forget about all the, dollars, rupees that you're making and whatever you want to do in your life, whatever car that you want to drive, whatever home that you want to have. But at that stage, ma'am, when the flight is just taking off and
Huh?
you are anxious, because
Mm.
most of the accidents happen either during takeoff or landing.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
ask yourself whether you want to leave, and I'm like internally, nahi yaar, sab kuch छोड़ो, जीना है बस.
Yes, 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 yes. That's the point of, resilience. That's the point where we say, I'm alive. That's more important. Whether I have anything else or not, I can always make money. I can always, find opportunities. I can always get married. I can always find my partner. Whatever
Yes,
is bothering you, that seems to be like a big mountain in front of you, seems nothing when you go through life and death,
yes,
importance, right?
yes,
With the biggest blessing that you have today is when you wake up in the morning and you are able to breathe, that is very, very important. You are able to breathe, you have health, you are able to see, you are able to taste normal food, you are able to, I mean, today, very coincidentally, I was looking through my window and I saw a little kid, hardly about 3 or 4 years old, okay, walking with crutches.
mm,
I felt so, so, so disturbed at that point in time, that you don't see too many kids in that kind of, situation, in a very upmarket kind of a place or anything of that sort, right? But when you see, I'm like, oh my God. I mean, even in my community, I have so many kids, happy, healthy, touch wood, God bless. But when I saw that child, I really got moved, saying, this is what is the blessing I have today. That, what is that mother going through, probably every day, making that child practice to walk with crutches, and, and what is that child missing out,
yeah,
looking at other children, right? It's a very deep example, but it just happened this morning, and I'm like, I'm still sitting with it, this is exactly what I'm saying, that it is a blessing, first and foremost, that I'm alive, I'm breathing, I
mm,
have everything in my hand that I can do to change my life,
yes.
you know?
Ma'am, we'll go back to the corporate, and this is very interesting because, yeah, means the goalpost keeps on changing, and people kind of get trapped with that. Ma'am,
Yes, yes,
when we talk
yes.
about leaders like in India or abroad, do you think unintentionally they start contributing to poor mental health of the employees?
Wow. Yes. See, when we talk about mental health at a larger level, it all boils down to two things. Primarily, that we lead two lives. One is at home, the other one is primarily at the office, right? We call it
Yes.
the second home or the second family also. So to that extent, how much these two places impact an individual's overall well-being cannot be demeaned or negated for that matter.
Mm,
So are we doing anything better at an office place or on a work or a workplace? I would say I very conscious efforts are being done. Very,
mm,
very should I say thought out processes, initiatives are being rolled out.
mm,
And time and again, things have evolved and changed. Thanks to, should I say, management studies, people presenting papers on, what is changing in the workplaces.
mm,
HR has always and leadership has always come together to ensure that they are able to provide better workplace in their own work environment, and all organizations strive to achieve that one. But many a times there are other priorities that take over, and sometimes initiatives get diluted and probably remain in the PPTs, remain only for that particular day, including, for example, you talk about an International Women's Day or a Mental Health Day, or for that matter, Pride Month
mm,
becomes that particular timelines initiative, and
mm,
not recognizing that it is not about celebrating and dedicating a particular day or running an initiative. This
mm,
has to become the DNA of every, our lifestyle, our behavior in every day. When we talk about mental health, what am I doing to make sure that, that initiative, the objective with which I rolled out that initiative is to support women, make this workplace a better workplace for women to come and work. This initiative that I rolled out for Pride was to make sure that I want to give a message to everybody other than, gender neutral people, to come and say, this is still a great workplace. I can be what I am, irrespective of being judged, for that matter, of for what I am, whether I'm rich or poor or knowledgeable or skilled or not. Every kind of diversity is welcome. So that, is that getting implemented on a day to day basis? Is that becoming a practice? That is where probably it is failing. But
mm.
initiatives definitely are being run. There is definitely a lot of study, a lot of intention to bring that change, to make it happen. But yes, like I told you, evolving, sometimes something else becomes important. This year, something else becomes important. So we
Yeah.
run with goalposts changing, like you said, right? So
Yeah.
that is where it is. And not understanding that whatever we are doing directly or indirectly contributes to overall mental health of the individuals. So we need to be very, very conscious of how it is all getting tied up, rather than running initiatives very, very in a silos and in different clouds for that matter. So that is something I would say. But yes, a lot of progress that has happened. And internally in a workplace, uh, there are initiatives can be better with the
Yes.
intent.
Yeah. Ma'am, I will like kind of I very much relate to it. So I was working for a company and I was leading a team of over 60 people. That was back in 2020. And
Uh-huh.
my performance for like continuous 1 year was very good. I was able to scale that category 6x, managing people. But then, suddenly what happened is that I started, getting anxious. So I started
Okay.
getting anxiety attacks. Okay. And then what happened is that the performance dipped
Uh-huh.
because I was not able to control my things like my mental state, my emotions,
Okay.
and all that. And because of which, the way I used to manage the people, it kind of deteriorated. I went to my boss, and
Uh-huh.
because he was really concerned about that. Why this category was performing so well and now it's kind of falling. So I told him that, I need a break. Like I need a break of like 7, 8 days because I've been working tirelessly for the last 1 year and there's no weekends at all. In the startup, there are no weekends. And to my surprise, what happened is that he didn't take it positively.
Uh-huh.
He thought that, oh my God, if he goes away for like 6, 7 days, how will this particular business category will grow? And
Correct.
this can have an enormous impact, ma'am. So,
Yes.
and he started telling me something which actually seemed like he is targeting the poor performance that has happened in the last 1 month. So, ma'am, want to understand from you, like, how can leaders be trained? How can organizations identify the difference between a poor performance and an emotional exhaustion.
Yeah, I think, see, this is a, there are two parts to your question, right? How do we enable managers to handle this kind of a situation? And
Yeah.
the other part you're talking about is what is a poor performance versus a emotional exhaustion, right?
Yes. Mm.
So let's address the first part. I think the manager, for that matter, what did you expect, Rishi, when you went to the manager? What was the first thing that you would have expected?
I expected that, he should give me a leave for like 7, 8 days.
Yeah, that is the result. But you first wanted him to understand you, right?
I expected him to be more empathetic towards me.
Correct, correct. So, not using complex words, but if basically what do we expect when we talk to somebody? We expect them to understand where we are coming from. We
Right.
expect them to understand what I'm going through and why I am asking or why I'm doing what I'm doing, right?
Yes.
So, that understanding, in other words, is called empathy. Okay.
Yes.
Empathy is a behavior that a leader should exhibit or is expected to exhibit when he or she can put themselves in your shoe and understand, "Oh, yes, Rishi has been, struggling. He's
Mm.
had personal situations at home, but he has still given a lot to our, organization.
Yeah.
He's been
Yeah.
at work despite he was needed at home. He still was here.
Mm.
He did not ask leaves then, and he's asking now. Probably it's good for me to give a break. He must be really exhausted that he's asking
Mm.
now that he did not ask previously. That
Mm.
understanding, that putting myself in your shoe and seeing and understanding what you must be going through, that
Yeah.
empathy is what is very important. And when leaders start and being more empathetic, is when we will be able to resolve a lot of these conflicts,
Yes.
misunderstandings. And of course, for a leader, priority is like, oh, you're talking about this, you know what all I have gone through, and I still push myself and come to work. Why can't
Yes.
you do this, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's because this is priority. Do you even understand the deadline? Do you even understand? Sometimes leaders are leaders because they have to go one step ahead, right?
Mm.
If
Mm.
their team members need a break, they need a break, and probably they'll need to fill in that place. But that's a little too much to expect. But maybe there are better ways to manage that situation. But what is very, very important, however, is
Yeah.
for a leader to be first and foremost empathetic and
Empathic.
understand what their team members are going through first and foremost, that they are asking these kind of things that are probably sounding impractical at that point in time,
Yes.
right? If they become empathetic, a lot of things really fall into place. And to come to
Yes.
your second part, poor
Yes.
performance, Rishi, is a clear result of skill issue.
Mm.
Okay, when I say, okay, I'm struggling with this new technology that has come in, I'm struggling with
Yes.
this new team, new tool that I've been asked to handle, I'm not at all liking this process, the new manager, whatever, and probably that is leading to my poor performance. That is by skill issue. But the
Yeah.
other, that can be trained, and you can probably get the person to be coached, and you can
Yeah.
get them on track. But emotional exhaustion is a result of stress that the person has gone through.
Mm.
Despite knowing what I know what needs to be done, I'm not able to put my
Yes.
best.
Mm. Mm.
I'm not able to come forward and
Mm.
drag myself to work every day. I need a
Mm.
break. That is emotional exhaustion.
Mm.
Physical exhaustion, and also mentally, if they have gone through a lot and they are not able to turn up at office and deliver what they are supposed to do, despite
Yeah.
having the skill, having the knowledge, having everything else in place, I'm not able to be my best. That is emotional exhaustion, and that needs a different kind of treatment than just training as such. So maybe
Yeah.
talking about counseling, all of that. So that's a
Yeah.
two different thing. Coaching is what I said when I said coaching on
Yes.
the skills. You know what needs to be coached, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3, skills. This you learn. Coach the person how to do it better. Counseling is something else at a different level, touching the inner level of the individual's emotions and helping them handle their emotions better.
Um,
Okay. So that's where I would say is the difference that comes in.
and then, there is another incident that I remember is
Hmm.
that after that company, I joined another startup
Okay.
and I was heading their national business and I was working very closely with the founder. So
Okay.
every Saturday morning, this guy will send me a location of a resort nearby. Okay. And he will tell that, sir, you should be going to this place today or tomorrow.
Okay. Nice.
Not even a single weekend, this guy never, always used to send me a location nearby to Bangalore.
Okay.
And he will tell that you should go there, sir, go with your wife, go with your family, and just
Uh-huh.
enjoy. And once you're coming on Monday, sir, you should have been, putting a Google review.
Ah.
Now, so there are two different personalities altogether. Like
Mhm.
this founder, he knew that, I've been kind of consistently building this business and this is a very high stress job. So he, as a leader, as a founder, knew that my only responsibility is to take care of my employees, people who are working for me to build this business. That leader, on the other hand, he thought that he became insecure. Is that how my performance is going to be affected because of him? Without
Yes.
understanding that if this person works with mental exhaustion, ma'am, the performance is, anyway is going to be suffer. So
Correct.
next point is that, ma'am, since we started with this resort and all, is that companies these days offer wellness apps, yoga sessions, counseling hotlines.
Yes.
Still burnouts are increasing. What is that point which companies are missing?
Yeah, I think it's a very valid point. Like I said, no, there is definitely a lot of work that has happened in that area, and introducing new policies, leaves, wellness leaves for that matter, or
Mm,
looking at well-being at a holistic level. They have definitely looked at aspects of introducing EAPs or employee assistance programs or
mm,
partners who will be there to guide them, assist them, and be available for approaching in case they need help in terms of mental health. But where are they missing out is the element that I think to make it safe for them to open up. You
नहीं,
know,
वही तो main point है, ma'am. That is the
That's right.
main point actually.
Exactly. So, like you
We are
said,
always afraid of talking.
yes. So everything is there. We talk about
Yeah.
EAP, we give you, on call facility and all of that. But the point
Mm,
is, everybody is definitely worried. What if I reach out to that hotline? My
mm,
HR will get to know, my manager will get to know. What will they make out of, my data? But
yeah,
this is exactly it's very important for organizations to communicate it in such a way that this facility is there, but it is safe and it is
mm,
confidential. We are not using this information, that you reached out and how many times you reached out, who reached out. We
mm,
will not be talking about it. We will not be, looking at that data point. Yeah. But what we will be definitely concerned about is that we will be happy that if, all of these facilities that we are providing you is utilized effectively so that we don't end up with problems of, should I say, someone like you said collapsed or is having an anxiety attack and is still not you had to go through to that extent that we had to talk to you and figure out that you do have a history, or it's not about a history. Probably at that moment you're going through something, your series of events that has disturbed you. You maybe, at a personal level, you had series of deaths in your family that you're very, very disturbed and you're not able to focus at work, and that anxiety is, hurting you. There are
mm,
people whom I have spoken to who are worried when they come to office. They don't like coming to office because when they come home they see ambulances, the stress that the sirens give them, a whole lot of small reasons. For us it's small reason, but for someone else it is a big reason. Those can be giving them anxieties. Those can be, a panic situation for them. They don't know where to express it, but the body is body. It will express it somewhere or the other, and it could be in a space where nobody is prepared for it.
yeah,
Okay. So, the organization's responsibility is not only to provide those facilities, but it is
mm,
to make it more psychologically safe for people to come out and talk about it and be okay with it and say it's okay to be not okay. You know?
it's okay
So,
to be not okay.
it's
Yes.
perfectly okay to be not okay. If you're not feeling okay today and you feel there's something that you're dealing with and you need to spend more time with yourself, please take a
Yeah.
break. Stay away, and we will deal with work later. We will see how that can be handled. That is a psychologically safe environment. And not being curious about why are you going through this? What are you doing? What is bothering you? Tell me about it. How will it be? rather than trying to figure out what. First and foremost, the person needs help, the person needs break. Look at that, right? So that makes people more safe. That makes people more comfortable to say that I can be okay and tell my manager that today is not the best day. I don't want to be here. I had a fight with my family or my husband or my and I it's a very bad fight, and so I want to just cut off. I'm just not able to focus at work. So that kind of a thing is very, very important that we give them space to manage that, because as much as people suppress over and over,
Mm,
1 day, 2 day, 3 day, months and months,
mm,
somewhere it's going to blow up somewhere else. A mother
yeah.
will show their anger on their kids, or probably a father will show their anger on, their wives. Something will lead to something else. Your anger of your manager will come at home, and you will
Yeah.
be yelling and shouting at family members who have no idea what you are going through, who have no
Yes.
idea what your targets are like and what your project went through or failed
Mm,
or not, where you're struggling. Probably they don't know. I think this is another very, very important pertinent element. Recently we went through the men's health week, for that matter, men's mental health week, right? It's very important for us to recognize that men go through a lot too, right?
yeah.
Pressure of being successful, being earning, being the bread earner of the family, making sure that they are taken care of. It's invariably their responsibility to make sure that the school fees is taken care of, rents are paid, EMIs are paid, everything becomes their headache,
Mm,
right? Why? I think that those societal norms that we have made, right? You
mm,
need to understand that it's okay for the man not to be responsible for these things. It can be probably
mm,
you or me and shared responsibility. You need to understand that one person need not go through all these things. And probably those people who are really suffering with those kind of things, saying, I need to live up to being a man, they go through a lot. They go through a lot to live up to that standards which they have assumed or, taken
mm,
it for themselves that this is what it is. If I fall short of this, I will lose respect in the society.
yeah.
I will lose respect in the society or in the community or in the family. मैं
Mm,
क्या मुंह दिखाऊंगा, like you say, right? That kind of a thing needs to that's exactly what I said, right? We need to come to that point to say it's okay to not be okay. So that
yeah.
comfort, if we are able to give, no, I think it's perfectly, that's important. In every way, we need to look at
Mm.
situations to be in that manner. How can we handle? How can we get it to that point?
That
Long
is so.
answers.
You have covered it so well, and
Thank
I
you.
will also take like 30 seconds to tell some story. And I kind of relate while you're talking about. I started thinking about
Yeah.
that. Is that I came from a very very middle class low family map. So
Mhm.
okay, so we used to live in a very simple room flat. My father used to earn say 15-20K a month, and we were able to live very happily. And from the very childhood, everything that I used to see, suppose somebody owning a car or somebody having sofa in their home because we had
Mm.
chairs, it used to make me think that can I also have that? Can I also achieve it? So as I used to write it down, show it to my mother, Mummy, I want to buy a car someday. Mummy, I want to have sofa in my home someday. Mummy, I also want to go for foreign vacations. Mummy, I want to study in the best school or IIT, whatever it is. Mummy, I want to marry the most beautiful girl. And
Mhm.
all those aspirations kept on building because we were not having those things. And this day, ma'am, I have everything in my life, what I
Mm.
thought of. I went for foreign vacations. I bought a luxury car. I got married to a girl who is from IIM. I studied in one of the best B schools.
Mm.
I have enough money that I can survive. But am I happy? No. I'm
Yes.
still thinking about something which I don't have, right? So people, when you're talking about men's health and mental health, is that people, so I went to Vipassana like for 10 days, and Guruji told one thing which I still remember is that every suffering is within you.
Oh,
Every suffering, because you have created, like was you told, na ma'am, like you have created a perception that I deserve this,
yes.
and that is why we suffer.
Yes.
If we start doing our work or a startup, so we started Dawdle, like I have never taken it as a kind of a thing like I have to become a unicorn.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
love doing podcast with people like you, so I'm doing it.
Yes.
And this is where, ma'am, you have a very interesting idea. Is that
Uh-huh.
believe that every organization should have a mental health first aiders.
Yes.
Love to understand what does that mean, ma'am?
That is, I must give credit to the person who put this thought in my mind. I
Yeah.
would, it would be very, very unfair if I don't really talk about that time. I was just having a casual conversation with a friend of mine and, a known industry leader
Mm,
within the HR space. And something that hit us when we were having a conversation that, oh, you know what, for me, being in HR for 20 years, I was one person till I got into counseling, which is active mental health, counseling. And my profession changed once I got that experience. Primarily because I saw that, I became much more empathetic, much
mm,
more non-transactional. Till then,
mm,
it was more about, operations. Till then, it was okay. HR is a job. So I come, I have these many things to do, I complete my tasks and all of that. But then for me to become an HR business partner, for me to become a think like a leader and a more people leader, this experience of mine working with an NGO that
mm,
made my life really, really enriched with that experience of what all various experience people go through. You know, they come and share, they come and talk, and they are in deep pain. They don't know how to handle, they don't know how to manage that situation for themselves. Some are
mm,
really, really, very disturbed to the extent that they need medical help. Some are dealing with families, dysfunctional families. How do we go about it? So personally, I also felt that probably if we had known there is something like counseling earlier, no, I
yes.
would have handled my personal situations in a much better manner. Maybe I would have reached out to people, maybe I would have spoken to people, taken
Yeah.
advice from somebody who has been in that kind of situation and handled my life situation better rather than reacting with my emotions, right?
Yeah.
So counseling teaches you first and foremost to be empathetic, and
Yeah.
secondly to be able to understand and pinpoint what you are going through today, that moment. What is your emotion? Why are you reacting like this? If you are able to, and what about that situation is disturbing you? If you are
Yeah.
able to identify and understand that,
Mm,
finding that solution for that issue becomes much more easier. Because when you go through a anxious kind of a situation, and there is an overwhelming situation around you, whether at office or at home, you your mind is fogged. You go through a brain fog where you don't know, you are only getting devoured by that situation than
mm,
practically objectively thinking about what is it that I need to address. If
mm,
you really cut out and step out and figure out what you're going through, use a bit of emotional intelligence, which is what is getting taught in corporates, right? Then you
yeah.
are able to better solution that situation, right? And that's exactly what is needed at personal spaces also. Like I said, counseling really, really turned my approach of being an HR, being more people person, being devising policies which are more employee friendly initiatives, driving it with a purpose,
Yeah.
of wellness. Because at the end of it all, for me, what mattered, this is very critical, that my people should be happy.
Yes.
People, if
Mm,
they are not happy in the organization and I don't know what is bothering them and I can't help them with that, they will not be successful. And what will you do with a bunch of people who are unhappy? They don't know how to identify, how they don't know how to express what is bothering them. Then how do you solution it, right?
yes.
So that is exactly where my 360-degree change happened then. But
Mm,
from that point in time onwards, when I was having this conversation with this friend of mine on counseling and how it helped and all of that, she was like, this is a beautiful thought, you should work on this, that
mm,
you should we should create uh, mental health first aiders on the ground,
yes.
like create awareness about what first and foremost mental health is all about. And just like you have ERT members, right, we
Mm,
came together with that thought that we need to have mental health first aid providers who are certified professionally,
right.
not to counsel but to provide the first initial support that is needed for the person who is going through that and
Yeah.
probably is struggling to identify what they are going through also, for that matter. Like
Mm,
maybe in a team, of 6 or 60 people, I'm working with everybody, but there is one person who is daily, not coming on time, is not engaged, is dressed up shabbily. There are many, many other
Yeah.
traits of identifying who is probably going through a situation. So train them on identifying the first signs of people who are going through mental health issues, and
Mm.
also train them on providing a first aid,
Yes.
in terms of when they need help in a situation like an emergency happens, for that matter, right? You train them on that. That is the whole big large framework. This is something that we need to really work on, and first and foremost create that acceptance. I think at the third point, not only about identifying the early signs of somebody who's going through a mental health issue,
Mm.
secondly, provide them the first aid. Thirdly, also guide employees to
Mm.
create a psychologically safe and work environment. Someone
Yes.
is being judgmental, someone is demeaning somebody, somebody is
Mm.
humiliating somebody, putting somebody down, or is being non-inclusive. These are ways where we create that kind of gap and differences in the workplace, right? So these people can become those warriors on the ground who will
Yes.
fight for the cause of mental health
Yeah.
and making workplaces much more safer for people to work, and psychologically safe work environments. I hope
Yeah.
that answers. This is the large framework
Absolutely, man.
that we are working on. Like I
This is very
said,
well.
we need
Mm.
to work on the nitty gritties of, there are sensitivities that are involved. How do we, train them? How do we call them out? Is it okay to float them easily? Will people really come out and talk to them? Will the system be utilized very effectively? We don't know. We need to figure out the pros and cons and address it accordingly. There's a lot more of conversation that needs to happen, but I would say this is a must and need of the hour at this point in time.
Ma'am, this is a very noble concept, ma'am. This can change things around, and I love it. The way you explained that we have warriors on the ground who can help people, kind of who are going through any kind of a stress or mental,
Mhm. Mm.
anxiety, anything, because we all need, somebody to talk to many a times, and we are not willing to. But India, mein, ma'am, there is one more problem. What I've seen is that, and this is something which is very related, is that
Mhm.
a lot of the people are very sadistic also. Like in company, if somebody is going through a mental stress or an exhaustion, a lot of the employees around feel that, "Arey, acha hi ho raha hai isko. This
True.
is happening good." So that empathy factor is missing somewhere.
Mm.
And when I started thinking about it deeply, what I found out is that since all of them have come from a resource constant environment, so they always feel competitive. Like ये नीचे जाएगा तो मैं ऊपर जाऊंगा. Like if he goes down, I will go up. So that mindset has not changed even after earning a lot of money.
Definitely. The not only that, ये नीचे जाएगा तो मैं ऊपर जाऊँगा is one mentality. There are also people who are ready to pull someone's
Yes.
leg constantly so that,
Uh,
directly
right.
or indirectly, that all that happens. And we are all aware, being in the corporate world for so many years, we know
Yeah.
that this is a norm, that मुझे अगर ऊपर जाना, किसी को तो नीचे आना पड़ेगा, है ना?
इंडिया में ज्यादा है.
Yeah, so whether we openly acknowledge it or not, we all know that this exists in, should I say, wraps? Should I
Mm.
say under curtains? Definitely, this is there. Somebody is always watching you. Somebody is always ready to pull you down. So you have to be very, very careful. That is something, like you said, right? It is very important that it happens because of that availability is less, opportunities are less, and
Mm.
so if I need that piece of cake, I
Mm.
have to make sure that the other person is not in the race. So how do
Mm.
I do that? I will put them down, right?
Mm.
That's exactly where office politics comes in. And that people need to really, really understand. I would say this 1 minute of our conversation is very, very critical, that
Yeah.
sometimes people don't even understand to
Mm.
what extent this can go to. It could be a team member or a manager or a coworker who's working for their own growth, or probably for whatever reason, what they say, what they do can not only have an impact on an individual's career, but
Yeah.
you are impacting that person's life. You don't know what that person is going through. You don't know why this job is important for this person.
Yeah.
है ना? So that if
Absolutely.
you don't understand, and that's exactly why I said empathy.
Yeah.
If you're not understanding that and you catch that other person on small little things like, oh, he's not coming on time, yeah, this code he did not deliver on time, he's constantly not doing work properly, his communication skills are bad, his
Yeah.
he does not belong here. That perception if you have, and you continue to work on that person, and you're hitting on that person, you're not only spoiling the opportunity for that person and the life of that person, causing mental health stress and
Mm.
distress, but the impact is huge. I mean, somewhere someone, there are definitely, if you look for evidences, you will find that people have gone to the extent of committing suicide also, because
Yeah.
they have not been able to manage the work stress. Somebody's politics, somebody doing all these kind of things in the behind the scenes, whatever we do, whatever we have seen, that can make an impact to a large extent, that can drive somebody to a suicide kind of a situation.
Oh, right.
So that is where we are more worried. That is why this mental health first aiders and crusaders are needed on the ground to
Yes.
help people understand, do you know what you're doing? This can go to a different level and a different extent. Do you know what you are going through? Do you want help in handling it? We are there
Yes.
to support you. You know, that is what is the responsibility of these mental health crusaders, as we call it. That is what is needed. And like I said, I go back to those co-workers or managers or everybody. They
Mm.
need to think about the consequence of what they are doing. It's
Yeah.
not for you, it might just be a promotion or a hike, or that sheer pleasure of मैंने किसी को नीचा दिखा दिया, but the winning game is something else, that you have made someone lose their life battle. You don't know that, right? Like for
Right.
example, NEET happened or many other things happened. Many people, it was a matter of, okay, scrapping an exam, or probably
Yeah.
losing an exam. Students go to the extent of committing suicide, no?
Right.
Was
Yes.
that needed? Can we stop that?
Yes.
So, at workplace situations, how can we help? People are in romantic relationships. They go to the extent of, okay, one of the person got married, and how is the other person taking it? Do we need help? Do we need to support? Can we understand that this person really needs understanding?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we might end up having a situation where we are losing a colleague, right? Okay, so these kind of sensitive situations, that we need to understand, this person needs additional support, this person needs additional understanding. Hey, this team member, don't bother him, been having too much going on at home for the last 1 week. Let him, don't bother him if he doesn't come on time. It's okay. If he wants work from home for some more time, it's okay. Don't judge
Yes.
people based on these things, right? So that awareness, I think, is very, very important. We need to get there.
Ma'am, again coming back to this mental health first
Mhm.
aider.
Uh-huh.
So, uh, you know, so what will be the structure like inside the organization? How can organization implement this? What kind of training they should give it to them?
Yes,
Who are
it's
these
very
people? Yeah.
correct. So I think first and foremost, it all starts at the first beginning, where you identify you are ready for this. You are
Ah,
ready to roll out, identify a team of people, just like how you identify ERT members, you identify people who have the clarity, maturity, and basic empathy in them, which can be trained further. These are
yes.
skills that can be trained. There are people, there is a program that we can run to help them understand, what does it take to become a first aider for mental health. What
Mm.
does it begin with? How do you develop a more empathetic skills? How do you develop, identifying people
Mm.
who are showing early warning? What are the
Mm.
situations that are red flags for you? You need to be careful about. And how do you guide them in terms of to adequate support? You will not become a solution provider, but you will guide them to seek help, and tell them that it is okay for you to seek help, because you are going through a situation. I see a colleague of mine constantly eating junk food and, out of stress. They
Yeah.
don't know what they are going through. Help them identify what is the feeling that is making them, what is the stress that is making them eat more, right?
Mm.
So this is something that we need to, I think, we need to understand. Conduct a proper training program with case studies and train them on case studies and role modeling in terms of how do you conduct a first aid conversation, and then certify them. So without the certification, people cannot go ahead and become just like that. Okay, I identify you, but there should be a
Mhm.
formal structure framework that
Mm.
is available that needs to be discussed and implemented, and probably to a certain extent customized to every organization that is needed the way.
Ma'am, I'm happy that you're doing this, ma'am. I
Yeah.
seriously hope that more and more organizations adopt this,
Thank
certify a
you.
few people within the organization as mental health aiders,
Yes.
and make other people safe, to kind of approach them, talk about it,
Yes.
because I think these all valves are needed inside the organization.
Yes. See, first and foremost, no, people are afraid to go to professionals and seek help. Go to EAP, hotline, or talk to the HR, or share with their manager and themselves that, I'm having this issue. Whenever I see this person, I get angry. I just walk off.
Yeah.
This can happen, but helping, why that is happening to that individual. Basically, it is very, very important for institutions to be ready to help individuals manage their personal life and their work life with a lot of clarity and help them become successful,
Yeah.
right? In their work life or in their personal life, they should not be doing things that will harm their life going forward.
Yes.
Yeah. So seeking support at the right time, providing and acting at the right way, I think will go a long way. And for all that, just like how we had guides earlier, how we had mentors, I think we need to have people who are neutral, who will not be judgmental to
Hmm.
provide this kind of support.
Great. Now, for all the corporate leaders or people who
Uh-huh.
are watching this podcast, we have talked around mental health, we have talked around the problems that people face. Would also like ma'am to kind of touch upon the economics of it,
Yeah,
because business sense matters,
of course.
business things matters. Ma'am, what is the cost of ignoring mental health for the organization?
Very simply, it can go to the extent of what do I say, employer branding,
Hmm.
uh, or poor performance to larger impact on the brand, larger impact on the future of the organization, that they were not able to deal with, a person in the organization. Like, for example, I remember quite recently, a couple of quarters or years ago, we had one of the big fours deal with this situation where they wrote a letter saying, this is the reason why I'm committing suicide. And they, went through that. And the organization had very little to do in that kind of a situation, right?
Yes.
The employee committed suicide. One, first and foremost, is the loss of life, but it
Yes.
impacts the brand value of the organization. It impacts the future of the organization. People will hesitate to join the organization, saying that this is the work kind of work culture. Do you really want to take it up? Do you really want to be there in that kind of a space, where there is immense amount of stress and there are no weekends, there are no, support. People don't understand whether you're ready for it or not, whether you can perform or not. It can
Yeah.
go to that extent. So it could be as simple as, okay, one person's poor performance and then the team is not doing well and everybody is frustrated and everybody is, agitated, and to the extent that it can go to, the loss of life, or probably hitting the brand level at a larger level. And the legal implications, right? Huge legal implications. That is something that we cannot forget. Organizations will have to provide a lot of explanation as to what is happening. Everybody will be called in. That time of, anxiety that everybody else will also have to go through additionally to explain how he or she was behaving, what happened on the ground. It's too much. I think that is totally, totally uncalled for. Loss of time, loss of energy, loss of, what do I say, patience for everybody for that matter. I think this is totally uncalled for and avoidable.
Yeah.
Today, when every work day is like going through nicely, calm, today was good, tomorrow was good, everything is fine. But there could be one day when things are not fine,
Hmm.
things just collapsed. But that collapse is a result of many different days when things did not go right and we ignored it, right? So there should be a proper system which makes people feel safe to bring it up. And for leaders, they need to be able to identify. There are many leaders, like you said, no, one of your manager who will say, hey, come on, I'm coming to office, why can't you come?
हाँ
Likewise, for them it is like, सबको होता है यार, traffic सबको मिलता
हाँ
है.
वही
Yeah.
yes yes
Why
हाँ
I can come on time, why can't you come on time? Right?
yes
You
mm,
don't know what that person's situation is.
right
So don't be judging that person with your yardstick. Right? You don't know. Maybe that person has a child which needs to be dropped to school.
yeah
You are probably past. I mean, you have completed that phase of life. But this person has a child or probably an elderly parent to be dropped to the hospital, then come to the office. So if you are seeing that person is coming late or something of that sort, don't judge them by your yardstick. Traffic to sabko hota hai, but this person faces a different other complexity in life. Be
right
understanding of that situation rather than हमेशा क्यों late आते हो,
um
right? That empathy is very, very important. And helping other team members also understand that you need to look at your team members in a different way. Don't go by that, judgmental
yes
fact that everything is okay for me. I come on time, so everybody should come on time. I'm able to do this, so everybody should be able to do this. It does not work like that. People are different, situations are different, people are at different phase of life
hmm,
at every time. You need to really, really recognize that. That's
yeah
where empathy comes in.
and everybody has a different what basically I also think that is ma'am is that everybody starts thinking from their own perspective. So let's suppose I can study for 18 hours a day. Okay, let's
Yeah,
suppose. Now, when I'm meeting a kid, say he's in his 10th standard, and if he's studying for 8 hours a day, I will tell that in my time I used to study for 18 hours a day. Why are you studying for 8 hours a day?
yeah, yeah.
So, and that is what happens with leaders also. Now, ma'am, they might have handled a lot of pressure, but that doesn't mean that everybody inside, you know,
एग्जैक्टली
yeah.
एग्जैक्टली मेरे जमाने में ऐसा होता था हमने क्या कुछ नहीं किया आप लोगों को तो यू हैव ऑल द कंफर्ट्स राइट
Mm,
despite that you guys are not performing. That is one other statement. So I think comparing oneself from my point of view is totally unfair. They need to be able to recognize that and normalizing this kind of behavior that
mm,
मेरा हो सकता है तो तुम्हारा भी you also can do it.
no,
That is, I think it's a wrong thing to.
yeah.
They should not encourage that kind of a behavior rather than let's sit down talk what is bothering you,
Yes.
right? क्या हो रहा है तेरे साथ? That is a great, you know, should I say, mood booster, supporter for somebody. And if the leader goes on to the extent to create that safe environment for others to say, hey, ये आज से नहीं time पे नहीं आएगा, okay? He will get his work done, but please be understanding. For some more time, he will need some additional, support from the rest of the understanding from the rest of the team, and this is something that I have understood and given him that flexibility, right? It's very, very important. So that understanding in within the system, creating that is the leader's job.
Now is a rapid fire round.
No,
Uh,
why?
you
Okay.
have to answer that within 1 or 2 words, ma'am.
Oh,
Um, so the
great.
first one is that what do you think about work-life balance? Is it a myth or reality?
Wow. Okay. I would say a bit of both. Work-life balance is possible if there is a understanding ecosystem. Otherwise, it becomes a myth. There is nothing called as work and life balance. You are working in your life. You are, you know, living
Uh,
your life at work also. So there is a balance, but it becomes work-life balance and more bearable when there is a ecosystem around you, which is making it much more understanding and not making you feel guilty for having taken that break, right? So one day, if you decide to work from home, somebody makes it, make you feel guilty, then that's not going to be possible at all.
One thing managers should stop doing right away.
I would say, like I said earlier, normalizing judgment, normalizing, assessing other people from their own yardsticks.
One thing employees should stop hiding.
Stop hiding. Uh, I would say definitely if they have a need, if they have a requirement, they should open up. They should talk about it. And also very, very important to understand their emotion, right? What exactly are they going through? Fear, anxiety, or, are they feeling happiness also? They should stop hiding that. They should share. They should, that's very important.
The most underrated well-being habit.
My favorite, a good conversation. Yeah. We talk about exercise, we talk about food, water, everything. All that is great. But trust me, what a good conversation with a friend or somebody
Yeah.
who can understand can do to your mental health is wonders. Talk. Allow people to talk.
That's what they're not allowing, ma'am. That's the problem.
Okay.
He
Yes.
wants to talk on messages.
Yes. 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 Have a conversation, real talk, talk, talk.
Ma'am, one workplace policy every company should start adopting right away.
I would say mental health first aid crusaders,
Yeah.
mental health first aid providers is future. I would say, with the growing anxieties added by the uh, technological developments, insecurities created by the world economic situations, people are really really disturbed about, one is job security, what will happen tomorrow, how will I, what will my life look like, सब कुछ डूब रहा है. Two, that because of the inflation or probably everything, to helping them understand all their emotions, categorize, and making them understand, okay, this is what it is. So it is very very important for mental health first aiders to be there and say, hey, we are here in case you feel like talking, I'm open for a conversation, right? I think that's where it is needed. Like I don't know if I spoke about it. Japan, for that matter, China, for that matter, a decade ago, they introduced mental health leaves.
Yes.
This is wellness leaves that have been introduced, saying you need to take a break for your mental health. So they are forced. They go into depression, because they don't talk. They don't have the habit. So recently, people, I don't know if you have gone to a vacation to Japan. Some of my friends went and they came and said they don't talk. They're all on their phone. So, like I said, no, that is a very, very important element, and is leading to a situation where people are getting into depression very, very easily. And that there might be a time when you need to institutionalize and create a system where there is readiness to understand, identify, and address these situations. So,
People are
right.
spending so much time on phone, and now these event companies are charging mammoth amount of money to come to the event and talk.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we are going completely opposite, ma'am. Like we have left behind all the basic things.
Yes, yes,
Now
yes.
people are trying to monetize those basic things.
Exactly. Monetize those basic things. We would sit under a tree, maybe a people tree or something in the community, and
Yeah.
chat and talk about the whole world. Today, everybody sit on the podcast and share their
Yeah.
opinions, and we pay money to listen to that, right?
Exactly.
So it's something like that, and listen to their opinions and listen to all those kind of things. I think that's very important. Rather than that, go to your neighbor, have a conversation. You'll feel really good about that day. That's a good break. Talk to your coworker. Go on a chai, right?
Yeah.
Those chai breaks, they are very, very important. And that's another factor. It worries me to see so many
Mm.
people come out for a chai break or a sutta break, uh, because that is how stressed they are. And when they come out, they end up eating junk also,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Samosa and all that. Huh.
Samosa and all of that. And I'm worried about how they are treating their physical, wellness also without this. That stress is
Yeah.
what is showing on them.
Yeah.
So this is exactly why I say mental health, prioritize it. You don't know how it's going to show on you later. Society goes in a very very different direction. Like I go back to that example of China or Japan, there are people who are not willing to get married. They are not willing to get, have a home
Kid.
commitment of a home,
Mm.
for that matter, because of many other reasons like this. So these are
Right.
things that I have noticed, that a well-being of an individual, a holistic well-being, is very very important for society to progress positively, in a positive direction. Many of these things are very very important and nothing can be ignored. Just like how we talk about petrol prices, we should talk about mental health also. How is it affecting you, right?
I hope more and more HR leaders in India take some bits out of this podcast
Right.
and understand what a true HR is being like.
Yes.
Because I think that is also where our corporate environment, HRs are the backbones of that.
Absolutely. I will take a moment to, conclude here. I think that is exactly what drove me into this profession. And I like being in this profession primarily because HR is not only about being transactional, it is about
Yeah.
helping people understand their potential, remove their blockages, and reach their maximum level of, optimum level of productivity. It is
Yes.
our job to make them be successful, and if there is some obstacle in any way that is hurting you or disturbing you, we
Yeah.
need to work towards creating those systems that make you successful, right? That is one way of thinking about it. I believe in creating happy workplaces more than
Yes.
great places to work. Yes, that's exactly why I believe in creating happy workplaces rather than great places to work. There can be certificates that you can get credits on, but
Mm.
truly what matters is when people love coming to work, are happy coming to work, they give their best, and those are the companies that grow.
Mm.
People, create that stickiness in the organization. They like coming to work because I just love being here. I like this environment. मैं कितना पैसा बनाता हूँ, कितना promotion हुआ मेरा, that's a different thing. But I'm
Yeah.
happy यार. I like being in this place. That's the kind of work environment we need to strive to create. And that is what is the, need of the hour for organizations today.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining and sharing all these insights in this so unfiltered conversation. It was
Yes.
such a great session to have, and at last, would like to say something which is related to what Hima has been doing. Is that what people need most isn't a policy or an app. They simply need another human being who knows how to notice, listen, and
Yes.
thank you so much, leaders, for listening to this, and thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Rishi. Like you said, it's the most unfiltered and the most comfort conversation that I had. Though it was a bit long, I think the topic deserved it. But more and more conversations need to happen on this. Let this become the beginning of that.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank
Rishi. All the
you.
best to you. Thank you.
Thanks.